Walmart, Tyson, J.B. Hunt. What do they have in common? They all started as small businesses right here in Northwest Arkansas. This is A Fair Shot for Mom and Pop, and I'm your host, Travis Feltner. I spent a decade as an entrepreneur in NWA. Now, I'm taking you behind the scenes of some of your favorite local shops. Each week, we'll visit with different business owners who will share their stories of success. From restaurant to retail, hardware to home care, you'll hear how our locally owned businesses make this booming part of the state so great. Who knows? You may even learn something along the way. So subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. It's free. So you think you want to open a restaurant, but you've got no clue what it takes to be successful. We're going to help you out today right here on episode 1 of A Fair Shot for Mom and Pop. Welcome, folks. We are open for business. I am your host, Travis Feltner, and I am so glad you're here. Thank you for joining me. On the menu today, we've got some tips to help make your restaurant dreams come true. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, wouldn't this be a terrible time to open a business with COVID-19 and all? Maybe, maybe not. Regardless, there are some fundamental keys to success that you need to know. Sure, you think you've got the most creative concept and tastiest food out there, but let's face it, that'll only get you so far. If you don't do things correctly right out of the gate, they won't take you anywhere. So how do you do that? Well, the best way to learn is to talk to someone who's done it before. Jeff Hodges started Foghorn's Wings, Burgers, and More in Fayetteville, Arkansas in 2004. Almost 2 decades later, he's got 6 locations across the northwest and central parts of the state. But Jeff's not a chef by trade. He holds degrees from the University of Arkansas in accounting and financial management. He's also a non-practicing certified public accountant and chartered financial analyst. He says it's this background alone that got him started on the right track.
Numbers are really my strong point, and I think the numbers part of it is more important than anything of what kind of food I serve or my chicken wings or any kind of specials or marketing. I think knowing the business side of it has really propelled me above, most of my competitors. And I'll tell you, if I'm back in the kitchen cooking, then there's a problem. You don't want me back there. My strengths lie in running the operation as opposed to being in the operation.
He credits his years of success to 3 things he's done very well. To begin, he found the right first location at the right price.
The biggest thing for restaurants is just the startup cost. I mean, what I did back in 2004, I'm not sure I could replicate today under those costs. Just getting in a bare bones restaurant. I've got friends right now I'm working with food trucks trying to get into brick and mortars. Your cost of it, your barriers to entry are very high right now. You've got rents are very expensive. They're getting higher and higher.
Soon enough, Jeff would just start buying his properties. He says his real estate purchases have become the driving force behind his success. And with the coronavirus gripping the country, Jeff points to a potential commercial property market boom. A quick drive up College Avenue in Fayetteville is already showing hints of that. For sale and lease signs dot the windows of businesses that couldn't weather the COVID-19 storm. But buyers will have to act fast.
With the pandemic as it is, you're going to see some properties open up eventually. The problem, though, as I think we mentioned before, is some of the stronger chains are eyeing the same properties as well, and they're trying to snatch up all the properties. So that may not be as readily available as I used to think 3 or 4 months ago from what I'm seeing.
Next, Jeff emphasizes putting the right people in place. He prides his business in providing local jobs and treating his staff right. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. That's what every business owner says. But do they really mean it? Don't take his word for it. Listen to his employees.
Thank you for calling Foghorn 15th Street. This is Sarah. How can I help you?
This is this guy. He always takes care of us. My name is Judas Brooks. I'm one of the kitchen prep guys. I've been here about 4.5 years, and it's been a real pleasure so far.
He just is one of the best people to work for. My name is Sydney Piper. I'm the Director of Marketing, and I've been here 5 years.
He's a good all-around guy. Hi, I'm Amber. I'm a bartender for Foghorns, and I've worked here for over 7 years.
He's a great boss to work for. My name is Sarah, and I'm the general manager at the Foghorns off 15th Street. And I have been here for a little over 4 years.
Jeff just really wants to create the best work environment for each person.
You know, I mean, I've always been treated fairly. I joked that the check's always cash, but I mean, it's true. This place is dependable. Like, as a human being, like, I depend on this place for my livelihood.
He's the kind of person that would do anything for his employees. If I had financial questions, he's a man of numbers, so he's always good to go to for advice.
I know that if I ever did fall on hard times, he would definitely be there to help me.
Man, I've been here for long enough to see stuff like never thought I'd see before. He's bailed people out of jail. He even paid for a kid to go to college. He paid for this kid to get a better life, and he worked here for many years. And you know, I've never seen that out of a boss or an owner.
Jeff always makes room for us and to grow.
I've done everything from being a server all the way into our corporate office. He's always worked with me, always gave me open opportunities.
I'm not from Arkansas, and I wouldn't still be here now, honestly, if it weren't for this Foghorns, because the people I've met and the time I've had here has kept me around and want me to keep coming back.
This is kind of, in my opinion, the Foghorns family. He loves to put his favorite games, his favorite sports teams, and everything that Jeff loves is on each of these bars. He is definitely a full-time regular at one of our locations, and he likes to come in, he likes to hang out with everyone, know his staff, and be a part of the business. Because this is a local business owned by one guy, it's not the standard that you would see at a corporate restaurant. And he shows that in giving us gifts on the holidays and making sure that each of us are really taken care of.
Usually there's some kind of Christmas gifts, nice. We've gotten a backpack in the past, and some other nice stuff too. We've got these cups. They put our names and our dates on it, so it's nice. So it can show us how long we've been here.
Sometimes we'll get like a bad review or something and he'll send it to me and you're like, hey, let's take care of this. But he also, if we get a good review, like he'll send that to me, or he'll send me like, hey, you know what, you did really good this weekend. I got a lot of, you know, good compliments on you. He also lets you know the good along with the bad. It feels good for you to hear from your boss that you're doing a good job.
He is so knowledgeable on his craft. You run a great business that keeps us employed and happy.
This guy puts his money where his mouth is, you know. That's probably the secret of his success, really, is being willing to take a little bit of a risk, knowing that he's a local guy coming out, investing in Fayetteville. It's pretty cool. It really is a nice hometown story.
Everybody wants to be where he is in life, but he worked his way up to it. It's not like he just got this handed to him. Nothing was handed to him.
He definitely wakes up and the first thing that's on his mind is Foghorns, and when he goes home at night, I'm sure Foghorns is on his mind still.
And finally, Jeff says he's kept close tabs on every dollar spent every step of the way. This may sound like a no-brainer, but he stresses you can't ever lose sight of your expenses.
Every table and chair you see, all 6 restaurants, any TV you see, every piece of restaurant equipment, every walk-in cooler, everything I've done, I've grown slowly where the only debt I have is real estate. Cutting out a lot of the unnecessary expenses and really getting lean to the bone is going to be key for a lot of places, and realize, you know, what you think is important, what you had to have, maybe you don't have to have that.
16 years in, it sure seems like Jeff pretty well has it all figured out. But that doesn't mean he's immune to the impacts of COVID-19. He's not without his concerns.
It's really scary, to be honest with you. I don't think we see the full effects. We're going to learn a lot, I think, in the next 6 months to a year. Once they've let the gas off the stimulus, you can't keep throwing money at the problem. With the expanded unemployment benefits, $600 a week, and the stimulus checks, and the PPP loans for restaurants, you were able to keep some money in the economy, but it's all artificial money. The government's just printing money and giving to everybody. But at some point, that's going to end. And that's where it gets really tricky here.
He understands that his longevity is also due in part to being able to hit any curveballs thrown his way, the pandemic being the latest one. His word of advice for other business owners during these uncertain times: just stay focused and keep moving forward. And it's that attitude that gives his employees, like General Manager Allison Adams, comfort in her job security.
I was never worried about my job. I knew we would open back up. I never had any doubts about that. I feel like Jeff's one of the, he's very level-headed and he knows what he's doing. So when he told me that we would open back up, I trusted him on that.
Allison says she's grateful because things could have easily been much different had Foghorns closed like other restaurants.
That definitely would have changed a lot of things for me. If I wouldn't have been able to find another job, I potentially would have had to move back home and, reevaluate everything and kind of start over from scratch.
And at a time like this, we need fewer and fewer local businesses shuttering their doors. In fact, Jeff says we need more of them opening.
The fabric of your communities are your mom and pop businesses. I mean, they really, from small town USA, they're the flavor. There's what make your town unique.
So what are you waiting for? You've got what you need to get to cooking. I'm hungry. That's it for this edition of A Fair Shot for Mom and Pop. Again, I'm your host, Travis. I look forward to serving you next time. Without a doubt, many small businesses have been dealt a 1-2 blow this year from COVID-19. But it's not doom and gloom for everybody. Today, on episode 2 of A Fair Shot for Mom and Pop, we're pulling up a chair and chatting with some folks who've got the right tools to survive and thrive. Here we go again, my friends. Come on in. We're back in business. I'm your host, Travis Feltner, and I appreciate you stopping by. Listen, if you're like me, you're probably getting a little worn out by the constant bad news caused by coronavirus. People are sick and dying. Restaurants and local shops are shutting down. Hell, you may even be ready to put an end to your entrepreneurial dreams altogether. Stop right there. Not so fast. Of course, I understand your concerns about what the future of small business looks like, but before you go to throwing in the towel too soon, you've got to understand what it takes to be around for a very long time, even if a pandemic tries to step in your way. To help, let me take you to a place that opens its gates probably before you even get out of bed in the morning. Where the engines fire up outside the shop, but there's hardly any traffic on the streets. The coffee's hot to start the day because it's about to be a crazy busy one.
We're Delane and Melissa Allen. We own the hardware store on Township here in Fayetteville, and we've been in business for 33 years now. It's a little 5,500 hardwood floor square foot. It's a little family-run business. We try to take care of our customers the best that we can. My wife, Melissa, me and her run the day-to-day operations. We're not against taking out garbage, sweeping the floors, washing windows, cleaning doors.
It's that do-all mentality from the Allen family that's played a huge role in the hardware store's success since Delane's dad bought the place back in the 80s. Melissa and Delane took over at the helm almost a decade ago. And just like you may have your reservations about opening up a shop, Delane had them too.
My philosophy was you couldn't afford to shop at small business. You know, they didn't really have what you needed. Well, once we started running the hardware store, my philosophy has changed because we have the same thing that the big box stores have. You may have paid a little bit more.
It's not much more.
It's not much more.
$1 or $2.
But the one thing that we hear a lot from our customers is you can park in our front door, you can walk in, be greeted, sometimes too much. Walk in, get what you need, and walk out, and then be gone within 10 minutes and spend what you want to spend.
For the Allens, that's what it's all about, though. The people. They point to 3 tools in their box that have been crucial in building their business into what it is today. First and foremost, Delane says it all starts with their shoppers.
And the biggest thing is we just take care of our customers, in the personal service and the knowledge that we have. You come in here on any given Saturday afternoon, you're going to see more than likely the same 85 to 90% of the same guys from week after week after week, unless one of them is off for the day or they're on a vacation or something's come up and they need to take the afternoon off or whatever, and they're going to know what they're talking about.
But Melissa adds that it doesn't stop there. They don't just want to sell them a lawnmower, leaf blower, hammer, or some nuts and bolts. Oh no, it goes much deeper than that, especially if those customers have a small business of their own.
They walk in the door, we greet them by name, we know who they are. We worry about their families. We see customers coming here, we want to give them our business. You know, like we're having our house remodeled a little bit, and I want to buy from and have the work done by someone that actually shops with us. We go to a local restaurant that their family shops with us. So it's, you know, those are the kind of relationships we like to build.
It's those relationships that bring in some of the same people 2, 3, even 4 times a week. Delane stresses that when you're a local joint, it's that kind of loyalty you need to thrive. But he also says it's not a one-way street. That brings us to tool number 2 in our box, giving back. And as the old saying goes, 'tis better to give than to receive.
If you're not involved in your local community, then you're not a local business owner, in my opinion. No matter how little bit you can be involved, if you don't have the funds for your business to actually support, there's more than one way. You know, there's more than financial ways that you can do things.
You'll find the hardware store supporting local sports programs, schools, and first responders. The Allens credit those charitable donations to long-lasting relationships with the community. Speaking of relationships, I'm going to get a little off topic for a second, but there's one at the hardware store you've got to hear about, because you just don't see them like this every day, especially in the corporate or big box stores. I'm talking about the one the Allens and their staff and customers have with the store cat, Chainsaw.
She was dropped off here 5 years ago. She was real skinny, and we fed her and fattened her up and had her fixed, and the doctor told us we had to keep her inside. Well, once we kept her inside for a week, she got used to being inside, so she's pampered.
You know, so you get into small business, you know, family-run businesses, your pets are part of that store. Chainsaw lays across the cash register up front and doesn't move for nobody. Customers don't even worry about her. They just work around her. They just put their merchandise up there, and where she's not.
All right, digging back into the toolbox for the last one. After nearly 4 decades, the hardware store has been around long enough to see the world evolve in so many ways. Delane admits it hasn't always been easy, but they've had no choice but to adapt along with it if they wanted to survive.
The biggest thing that we did to stay up was, you know, getting into keeping computers and keeping our systems up to date with the changing times that's going on a daily basis. Technology is an ever-changing world. If you don't change with the times, you're not going to be able to keep up with the pace of today's world.
By now, you should have a pretty good idea of what tools you need on your belt to own and operate an established small business, one that can endure any challenging time. And if something comes along and interrupts you, well, you'll be equipped with what it takes to turn a bad situation into a good one, just like Jordan Netzel did. And funny enough, we're not leaving the world of tools and lawn equipment for his story. Must be something about lawnmowers that coronavirus just can't cut through. Jordan Netzel likes to mow his lawn. I mean, really likes to mow his lawn. As in every other day. Sounds crazy, doesn't it? But what if I told you he's found a way to get paid for doing it? No, I'm not talking about him owning a lawn care company. Yeah, he is a business owner in Northwest Arkansas, but it has nothing to do with grass. Well, I guess I shouldn't say that entirely. It sort of does. He's the guy you go see if you get grass stuck in your eye. Jordan's an optometrist that runs a clinic in Siloam Springs. But when COVID-19 blew in earlier this year, he found himself out of work like many other Americans. So what'd he do? Well, he made the best of it.
We got shut down by the CDC, so for 7 weeks we were shut down and I literally could not work. So I didn't have anything else to do. The lawn kept me busy, and it was really interesting when we got back to work because people would come in and they would ask me, so did you enjoy your 7 weeks off? And it was kind of funny. That's a weird question because I was nervous. It was one of those things I didn't know when we were going to get to go back to work. But just truth be told, yeah, I kind of enjoyed my 7 weeks off because I got to do lawn work the entire time. Like every day was out here in the lawn doing some kind of project, even if it was just mowing. I mean, I liked it. I enjoyed doing that full time.
Full time? Kind of sounds like a job if you ask me. Jordan's friends and coworkers were thinking the same thing.
But then people ask you, well, are you going to do it commercially? Are you going to start doing like mowing lawns on the side? No, I don't enjoy mowing somebody else's lawn. I enjoy mowing my lawn. I enjoy making my lawn and my house look really nice. I don't really care about anybody else's.
All right, I know what you're thinking. If he's not making money from a mowing business, then how's he doing it? Well, he's doing it like a lot of entrepreneurs do. He's turned a passion project into a revenue stream. Jordan has built an online brand within the lawn care community of more than 13,000 YouTube subscribers and close to 7,500 Instagram followers.
Let's call ourselves the Lawn Tools, and we just ran with it from there. And it's gotten some laughs, which was totally the intention, of course. We like to keep it fun and just completely lighthearted, and try not to take anything too seriously.
You see, when you've got the tools in your box to be a successful business owner, you can make it happen, and no matter what you do. Just like when Jordan's clinic was closed down by coronavirus. He wasn't going to sit around and let it stop him from growing. He took advantage of it.
I said, well, I guess I'm going to put up 3 YouTube videos a week because I have nothing else to do but film, go out to my yard and mow and do other yard work, get other things ready for the summer to come, and edit those videos. And so I started putting up way more videos than I ever had before.
And it paid off. Jordan saw his ad revenue on Google go up. Sponsors were knocking on his door to place products in his videos and give him equipment to test out. He was selling t-shirts, stickers, and hats. What started out as a hobby had quickly blossomed into a small business. And it sure didn't hurt that lots of other people were turning to lawn care during the pandemic.
COVID-19 was a very interesting thing because on YouTube, it did lead to a bunch of growth. It seemed like almost every channel that was on YouTube had more growth in the spring of 2020 than probably any other set of, 3-month span, something like that you could think of, because everybody was getting really into their lawn at that point. So lots of people are going onto YouTube to look for tips. Lots of people just had more time to watch YouTube because they were working from home or maybe not working from home so much.
Funny that an eye doctor would see a global crisis as a chance to capitalize on the World Wide Web. So what's the moral of the story here? If you want to be a business owner, then go for it. Don't make excuses. Don't let things stand in your way. You will face many challenges. It will not always be easy. Only the strong will survive. And in case you still have your doubts, here's one final word of encouragement from Delane at the hardware store.
Small business is not going away. We're going to be here for the long haul. In general, you probably will never run out small business. We're always going to be around. You shop local, you support your community, not just your local business, you support the community in general. I'm not saying you can be 100% shop local all the time, but when you can, that's all that we ask. You give us all a fair shot.
And she pretty much owns the store.
There you have it. You've got the right tools. Now get off your butt and start building something. That wraps up this round of A Fair Shot for Mom and Pop. I'm your host, Travis Feltner. Y'all come back now, you hear? Pretty difficult to run a successful business during COVID-19 when so many people are staying home. Then why not just go to them? Well, today we're going to visit with a local company that's doing just that. So don't go anywhere. Episode 3 of A Fair Shot for Mom and Pop starts now. Back in action, folks. I'm your host, Travis Feltner, and I welcome you in. Thank you for being here. I'm a homebody. I'll admit it. Give me a project or two around the house, and I'd much rather be there with my family than out socializing with friends at parties or bars or wherever else the cool kids hang out these days. But even as much as I love it, all the extra time spent at home because of coronavirus has me going a bit stir-crazy. I mean, think about it. Many of us are working from home, going to school from home, and just flat out not leaving home if we don't have to. So if our houses are our safe places, then why in the world would anyone in their right mind go to somebody else's? That's a good question, and one I don't have all the answers for. But maybe Kimberly Elwood of Tidying by Kimberly May can clean that one up for us. She's a professional cleaner and organizer serving Northwest Arkansas. You see, when COVID hit in the spring of 2020, her small but growing business took a big hit from customers who were scared to let other people into their homes, or some of them just used the extra time they had there to do the cleaning themselves. Kimberly lost about 90% of her clients and found herself at a major crossroads for the first time since things really started taking off for her in 2017.
I had to figure out what to do. So I had a Friday that I had nobody to help. So I spent the whole morning trying to figure out what kind of services we could offer to make money and to keep afloat during this crazy time. I've worked for so many people throughout my life, and I've always wanted to own my own business and be my own boss. And when I finally had it going, and I had like 6 people helping me, and we were busy 5 days a week, I was like, I can't lose that.
She had other people relying on her too. Justina Gallimore had been working with Kimberly for about a year. Even she understood the messy situation her boss was in.
When the coronavirus first started happening, business got really slow as far as cleaning. So she started this new thing where we could go grocery shopping for people. And that kind of helped the business keep up and stay running. So she just thought of new ways to keep going so that way her business didn't fail.
Well, it worked. Kimberly's business wasn't just tidying anymore. They were stocking customers' kitchens and even cleaning out their cars. Talk about full service. Sure, that wasn't part of the original business plan, but desperate times call for desperate measures. That's just Kimberly's personality, though. She's a fighter, and she knows it.
I am really headstrong, and if I want something to work, then it's going to work. So whatever it may be, it is going to happen. If I wasn't so headstrong, I don't think that we would have made it through COVID, just because I would have given up.
Good thing she didn't throw in the towel. She was going to need it again. The cleaning jobs slowly started coming back. Yeah, Kimberly had to learn the hard way, but what business owner doesn't? So if you're thinking about opening up your own but aren't sure you've got what it takes to make it a success, listen up. Kimberly's got 3 harsh realities for you, and trust me, there's no sugarcoating from her here. First, the obvious, don't think you're going to cruise down easy street. Kimberly says if you do take the ride, though, the sacrifice is worth it.
Being a business owner is extremely hard. I work all of the time, so family time. I miss a lot of family time because I'm always working. The really amazing things that I've gotten out of it is improving my skill. I can clean really well and I can organize really well, and I'm always learning something new every day, which is awesome. Every job is different.
Next, remember how I told you Kimberly's a fighter? Well, she stresses that business ownership isn't for the weak, so you better be one too.
You have to be really strong because you're going to be tested every second of every day. from people that work for you or your clients. There's always something that's going to go wrong all the time. You have to have a ton of motivation because you can't just quit. It's your business.
I know it sounds like Kimberly's as tough as nails, and she is. No doubt that's a quality that's helping her succeed, but there's more to the story. Erica Vanderpool had just started cleaning for Kimberly the summer after COVID hit. It was her boss's positive attitude that really caught Erica's eye.
She's very upbeat, even when there's like some roadblocks or some bumps along the way. She always stays really upbeat and cheery, and very open to any suggestions anybody has to try to make it go a little bit quicker, a little bit easier. She definitely has a great temperament.
And what a blessing that is, because Kimberly's character helped her most when she almost ran out of cash. Finally, she warns that financial woes just come with the territory, but you still gotta keep your cool.
When I realized I was extremely short on money, I was like, oh no, what do I do now? At that time, I was using lots of credit cards, so that's how I made that work. But I just remember being really freaked out, like how am I going to make ends meet? And at this time, whenever I was really low on money, I feel like I also had people helping me, so I knew that I had to pay them first. So just a lot of being scared, but knowing I was going to figure it out.
Speaking of running out of money, Kimberly's been very fortunate that she's been able to regain most of the business she lost due to the pandemic. One industry in Arkansas hasn't been so lucky, though: restaurant and hospitality. It's hard enough to make a living selling food and drinks under normal circumstances. Coronavirus takes it to a whole new level. As sports are pretty well back to normal on television, aside from few fans in the stands, sports bars like Foghorns in Fayetteville should see their business boom. But they're not. Owner Jeff Hodges is facing a set of challenges he's never encountered before. His restaurant occupancies have been cut by more than half, and a host of other state guidelines and regulations have been enforced on his operation. So the question remains, what does that mean for him and countless other Arkansans who own and operate an eatery? Chairman of the Arkansas Economic Recovery Task Force, Stuart Walton, says it's business owners like Hodges that are among the most impacted by COVID-19.
Small businesses are taking it on the chin, and they're faring worse than larger businesses with more resources. In particular, the leisure and hospitality segments. As a patron of one of these restaurants, it would be disappointing to see it close. But as the proprietor of one of these restaurants, or as an employee of one of these restaurants that might close, it would be life-changing.
Walton points out two main drivers for Arkansas's economic activity in the last 6 months.
One, just the government stimulus, the activity from the federal government, whether it's the PPP loans, the unemployment boost and benefits, and the stimulus checks. And then the other bit that shows up pretty consistently in the data is the elevated case numbers. And when case numbers are rising fast, you see a corresponding slowdown in certain areas of the economy. And so it just drives home the point that these crises are inextricably linked, the health crisis, the economic crisis, and that to solve one, we have to solve the other.
It's the government help that has Hodges worried. He emphasizes that rising labor prices and increasing occupancy, utility, and commodity costs are squeezing profit margins tighter than ever before. He says when all the benefits stop, it will get even trickier.
I'm not sure where the relief valve is going to come. You can work through those pressures when there's a lot of money running through the economy like there was. But now that the spigot's been turned off, the PPP loans are pretty much out. Stimulus money is out. A lot of people, 10 million or so, are still unemployed with no money. I'm very concerned of how the economy looks moving forward without some stimulus from the government.
Despite the uncertainties, Hodges keeps moving forward like he has for nearly 2 decades. He says it's the only way reputable restaurants like his will survive.
Even though times are hard for us right now, I'm trying to look at the big picture down the road. I'm not trying to be short-sighted in my thinking because we've built this brand to stay. And so we want to, stay top of mind awareness with our customers and our friends and our communities. The very strong brands I think will be fine. I think for the same reasons I mentioned. They've got loyal fan bases. They've got a great product. They wouldn't have been here for so long.
But Hodges says it's a different story for the less established ones.
It's going to be tough. It's going to be really tough unless you've got landlords willing to work with you on your rents. Depending on how deep you want to get in as far as how long your creditworthiness is, but how deep do you want to get into a restaurant and not knowing what the other side looks like.
Hodges says he's optimistic about the restaurant industry's return to normal.
Some have that viewpoint of it's never going to be the same. And I'm not sure if I buy into that quite yet. We're going to be living with it, but if we can learn how to manage it, I think people want to go back to mostly how it was before. People want to go to concerts. People want to shake somebody's hand. People want to give a hug. People want to go to ball games. They want to go to basketball games, football games, baseball games. I don't see the world wanting to change so dramatically where it's never the same.
Let's hope he's right. So if you're not scared off yet and still listening, here's one last thing to remember. Kimberly says if you decide to give your business idea a go, never look back.
I don't have any regrets. Not at all. I feel like if I have failed in the past with this business, I've learned, so I don't think I can really regret anything. I feel like I just knew that, I think probably from working all the jobs I have in the past and going through school and growing up, I just knew that you're going to fail, so you shouldn't get too down on yourself. So I knew opening a business, I was going to mess up in some way. So I just did it and figured out how to fix any problems that have happened and will continue to happen, because I'm a human and I'm not perfect.
That just about puts the finishing touches on this episode. Huge thanks to Kimberly of Tidying by Kimberly May for coming clean and sharing her honest tips to small business success. This has been a Fair Shot for Mom and Pop with your host, Travis Feltner. I appreciate y'all joining me.